I want you to picture a scenario. It's 9:00 a.m. on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
You have your coffee, you sit down, open your laptop, and you check your inbox. And there's an email from a business development rep you don't know.
The usual.
Right. Then you tab over to LinkedIn, and there's a post from some thought leader in your industry. Then maybe you open a proposal from a freelancer you're thinking of hiring.
Okay, the morning content routine. I'm with you.
And as you scan through these three completely different documents, I mean, different authors, different purposes, different contexts, you start to get this really eerie feeling, a kind of deja vu.
It's the texture, isn't it? It's that glossy, frictionless, almost plasticky texture on the words.
Exactly. It's the uncanny valley of text. The grammar is perfect. The syntax is, robust. The vocabulary is elevated. But the voice is identical. It's like walking into a party where everyone is wearing the exact same mask and speaking with the exact same inflection. And you realize nobody is actually home.
And that inflection, that monotone drone, it has a name now. We're calling it the AI accent. And the really terrifying part isn't that the robots are sounding more human. It's that we, the humans, are starting to sound more like robots. We are witnessing a massive, and I mean massive, regression to the mean in human communication.
That is the crisis we are unpacking today. We have a huge stack of research here titled The Architecture of Authentic Digital Communication. But honestly, calling it architecture feels, I don't know, a little too polite. This is a survival guide.
It really is. It's a field manual for not sounding like a bot.
We are looking at a phenomenon the research calls the Stupidity Paradox. And I have to say, when I first read that title, I was a little offended.
Oh, for sure. It sounds like an insult.
It does. But as we dig in, I think we're going to find that it's actually almost a profound theological statement about what it means to be human in 2026. The research argues that in an age of infinite, cheap artificial intelligence, the only truly intelligent move left for us to make is to be stupid, to be simple, to be flawed, to be raw.
Because smart, or at least what we thought sounded smart, the big words, the complex sentences, that corporate polish, is now a commodity. It's basically free. I can generate smart for $20 a month on an app. So smart has lost its value as a signal. And now stupid, and we'll definitely have to define what that actually means, is the new premium.
So here's the roadmap for this deep dive. We're going to do three things, and we are going to go really deep on them. First, we are going to audit your own writing, your own voice. We're going to look at the linguistic fingerprint of AI. We literally have a kill list of words that you need to banish from your vocabulary immediately if you want anyone to trust you.
And I'm going to be the bad cop here. I'm going to call out the specific words that are just killing your credibility. And yeah, I'm probably going to hurt some feelings because a lot of us, myself included, have used these words to try and sound professional.
Then second, we're going into the arms race, the technical side of it. How do detection algorithms actually work? We're going to talk about perplexity and burstiness. These concepts that sound like, new dance moves, but are actually statistical probability models. And we're going to look at the depth framework for beating them.
Which is so crucial because people are going to use these tools. We can't just sit here and pretend they won't. It's happening. So the real question is, how do you use them without losing your soul in the process?
And finally, that brings us to the big one. We're going to break down the trust matrix. How do you build a personal brand that is fundamentally uncopyable by a machine? We're going to look at the stupid movement initiated by folks like Dan Coe. And I have this historical parallel about the Protestant Reformation that I really, really want to test on you.
I'm ready for it. Look, I'm looking at this as a practitioner today. I don't care as much about the deep philosophy as I care about the ROI. It's simple. If you sound like a bot, you don't get hired. You don't get the date. You don't get the sale. Period. Full stop.
I love that framing. And I'm coming at it from the other side. I'm genuinely worried about what happens to the shape of human thought when we outsource the struggle of writing. But let's start with the immediate problem, the context. I want to read the catalyst passage from our source material because it really sets the stakes.
Yeah, lay it on us.
Okay, the report says this. The ability to distinguish machine output from human intellect has grown increasingly sophisticated, birthing a continuous arms race between detection algorithms and evasion techniques. Simultaneously, audiences engaging with digital media in 2025 and 2026 demonstrate profound fatigue toward hyper-optimized, formulaic content.
That word fatigue, man, that is doing a lot of heavy lifting there. It's not just boredom, it's exhaustion.
It is. It continues. The modern digital consumer actively rejects the superficiality of early internet marketing. demanding instead a synthesis of high-level intellectualism delivered with accessible conversational clarity.
Accessible conversational clarity. That's it. That is the whole ballgame right there. But let's just pause on that fatigue part for a second.
Yeah.
Because I feel this in my bones. I mean, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. I have a story about this, actually. A perfect one. It happened just last week.
Okay, tell me.
So I received an email from a colleague, someone I've known for years. Let's call him Dave. Dave is a good guy. He's a real person. We've grabbed coffee. We've complained about sports teams. We've shared pictures of our kids. Dave is, a normal, messy human being.
Human. Okay.
And I opened this email, and the subject line was something like, strategic alignment for Q3 initiatives.
Oh, no. That's a bad start. A very bad start.
I know. It's already red flag. But I open it, and the first sentence was, and I'm quoting here, I hope this email finds you thriving in the current quarter.
Thriving. Who says that? Who actually talks like that?
Nobody. And then it said, I wanted to delve into the potential synergies regarding our upcoming project, specifically to leverage our collective bandwidth to facilitate a robust outcome. Just stop it right there. Delve, synergies, leverage, facilitate, robust. That's 5 unforgivable sins in one sentence.
I physically recoiled from my screen. It was the uncanny valley, but for text. I looked at it and I thought, this isn't Dave. This is not the guy I know. Dave doesn't talk about leveraging bandwidth. Dave talks about getting stuff done or fixing the mess. It felt completely hollow. It felt like I was being handled by a script, by a PR department.
That's the AI accent. It's not that the grammar was wrong. In fact, the grammar was perfect. It was too perfect.
Yeah.
And that was the problem.
Exactly. It had no sharp edges. It was sanded down to nothing.
And that's where this stupidity paradox comes in. The source material references a study on this, about how corporate structures and all that jargon actually promote mindless rule following. When we use this hyper-professional, polished AI-generated language, we aren't signaling that we're smart. We're actually signaling that we aren't thinking.
We're signaling safety. That's what it is. Dave used ChatGPT to write that email because he didn't want to risk sounding unprofessional. He didn't want to have a typo. He was afraid of using the wrong tone, so he outsourced his own voice to the machine, and the machine gave him back the mathematical average of all professional emails ever written.
Which brings us to a huge systems problem. I want to put my philosopher hat on for a second here.
Go for it.
If everyone uses AI to write, and AI is trained on the average of all human thought, right? It's a probability engine at its core. It just predicts the most likely next word.
Right. It's a regression to the mean machine.
So if Dave uses it, and then I use it to reply to Dave's email, and you use it to write a LinkedIn post about our conversation, aren't we just creating a society that can only think in averages? We're literally flattening the bell curve of human creativity and expression into this single, flat, boring line of delving into tapestries.
That's the real danger. It's a feedback loop of mediocrity. The AI writes average content. We post that content. The AI then scrapes our average content to train the next model, and that model becomes even more average. It's a race to the absolute bottom of blandness. We are systemically washing out all the color, all the flavor from our communication.
And the deepest irony is we are doing it because we think it makes us sound better, more professional.
But we aren't sounding better. We're sounding invisible. We're sounding generic. And that's the practitioner's nightmare. If I sound like everyone else, why would you hire me? Why would you listen to this deep dive if we sounded like 2 AI voices just reading a Wikipedia article to you?
You wouldn't. Of course you wouldn't. You're here for the friction. You're here for the ums and the ahs and the bad analogies about the Reformation.
Exactly. So let's help people not be invisible. Let's move into Act 2. Let's talk about the linguistic fingerprint.
Let's get our hands dirty. The source document has a table in it, and it's called Highly Probable AI Output. And it is damning. It is a list of words that statistically just show up way, way more often in AI-generated text than in actual human writing.
The kill list.
Yes. But before we even read them, I want to understand why these specific words. Why does ChatGPT love them so much? What's going on under the hood?
Okay, so it comes down to how these models are trained. They go through this process, you've probably heard of it, called RLHF, reinforcement learning from human feedback. Basically, humans sit there and rate the AI's answers. And humans, especially humans in a corporate testing environment, tend to rate answers that sound professional, safe, and kind of academic, higher than casual ones.
So the AI learns, through trial and error, that to be a good AI and get a good score, it should sound like a mid-level bureaucrat who just discovered a thesaurus.
Exactly. It learns that delve sounds smarter than dig in. It learns that tapestry sounds more poetic than mix or combination. It's optimizing for the appearance of competence, not the reality of connection. It's all surface, no substance.
Okay, hit me with the list. What are the banned words? What's at the top?
Number one, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the AI world is the word delve.
Delve. I knew it. Why? What is it about delve?
I don't know, but if I see let's delve into this, my bot detector goes off immediately. No human says that in a casual conversation. You'd never turn to your friend and say, hey, do you want to delve into this pizza with me? No.
Huh?
You say, let's eat, or let's dig in.
It's so performative. Okay, what else is on the list?
Tapestry, as in the rich tapestry of our cultural heritage, or a tapestry of ideas.
Oh, that's painful. It's so flowery and empty at the same time.
It's filler. It's what we call a high-entropy filler. It sounds nice, it fills up space on the page, but it conveys zero specific information. It's the beige paint of the intellectual world.
Give me more. I'm enjoying this.
Okay. Realm, leverage, transformative, underscore, facilitate, and one of my personal most hated, landscape.
In the rapidly evolving landscape of digital marketing.
Ugh, stop. You're physically hurting me.
But think about why that phrase is so common. In the rapidly evolving landscape.
Mhm.
It's a total safety mechanism. It protects the writer from having to say anything specific or take a real stance. If I say marketing is getting harder because ad costs on Meta are up 30% year over year, that's a specific falsifiable claim. I could be wrong. But if I just say the landscape is evolving, I can never be wrong. It's pure cowardice.
Exactly. It's the illusion of competence. It's like wearing a lab coat but not knowing how to do the science. It's defensive writing.
Yeah.
And in 2026, defensive writing is a death sentence for your brand.
Okay, so we ban these words. We put them on a Post-it note and we never type them again. But it's not just vocabulary, is it? It's the structure of the sentences.
No, the structure is an even bigger tell. The source document talks about something called negative parallelism.
Okay, break that down for me.
It's that sentence structure of not just X, but also Y. Or it is more than a mere X. It is a gateway to Y.
It's not just a toaster. It is a gateway to breakfast excellence.
Yes, that's it. Sounds like a bad infomercial script. But the AI loves it because it feels balanced. It feels comprehensive. The model thinks it's covering all the bases and showing nuance.
So what about the rule of three? I see this everywhere.
Oh, the rule of three. Our solution is efficient, robust, and scalable. We provide fast, reliable, and secure service. It requires blood, sweat, and tears.
Well, hang on. Blood, sweat, and tears is human. That's Winston Churchill.
True. A human can use it for powerful effect. But when every single sentence ends with a triplet of vaguely positive adjectives, it creates this robotic, monotonous cadence. It's hypnotic in a bad way. It literally lulls your reader to sleep.
So here's a challenge for you listening. Go check your last 3-cent emails. Or check the last LinkedIn post you scrolled past. I guarantee you'll find this stuff.
I did this. I went and checked my spam folder, actually, and it was a goldmine of this. Unlock your true potential with our robust, scalable, and transformative solution. It's a dead giveaway that a human was not in the loop.
Now here is where it gets really interesting for me. The math. Because we aren't just going on vibes here. There are actual algorithms designed to catch this stuff, and they use 2 specific metrics. Perplexity and burstiness.
Right, and these sound like completely made-up words, but they are real statistical terms.
Let's unpack perplexity first. How does the source actually define it?
So perplexity is basically a measure of surprise, or more accurately, a measure of predictability.
Surprise.
Yeah. Think of it like this. If I give you a sentence, the cat sat on the S, and I ask you to bet $100 on the next word, what word do you bet on?
Mat or couch.
Right. You bet on mat, maybe floor, maybe couch. Those are very high probability words.
Yeah.
The AI is a machine that is programmed to always bet on mat. It always picks the most statistically likely next token based on its training data. That is low perplexity. Very predictable.
Okay, so low perplexity equals predictable equals robotic.
Exactly. But a human is chaotic. A human is weird. A human might say, the cat sat on the half-eaten burrito from last night.
That is high perplexity. I was not expecting burrito.
Exactly. It's surprising. It's statistically unlikely, but it makes perfect sense in a specific, weird human context. The SAR says this, and it's a great line. A low perplexity score strongly suggests machine authorship because it indicates that the text adheres strictly to learned high-probability patterns.
So to be human is to be surprising. To be human is to be unpredictable.
In a way, yeah. From a statistical point of view, we are defining our own humanity by our chaos, by our ability to connect two things that shouldn't logically be connected, like a cat and a burrito.
That's incredibly profound, isn't it? We spent centuries of Enlightenment philosophy trying to be logical and predictable and rational. And now the only thing that distinguishes us from the machines we build is that we are irrational weirdos who talk about cats sitting on burritos.
It is profound. And then you have the second metric, which is burstiness.
Right. The rhythm of the writing.
Burstiness is all about the variation in sentence length and structure. Humans are bursty. We'll read a long, winding, complex sentence full of commas and subclauses and parenthetical thoughts, like this one right here, where I'm trying to explain a complex concept and maybe I'm adding an extra thought in the middle and then we stop. Short sentence. Fragment, even.
Boom.
Exactly. Boom. That contrast between long and short creates a spike in the data, a burst. AI writing is flat. It writes sentences that are all roughly the same length and complexity. It's a metronome, a monotone drone.
So if perplexity is about the weirdness of your word choices, burstiness is the beat of the drum.
That's a perfect analogy. AI is a metronome. Tick, 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 tick. Humans are a free-form jazz drummer. We're all over the place. We speed up, we slow down, we throw in a weird fill. We even miss a beat sometimes.
The source material gives a great example here. It says something like, an AI would write, "The dog ran quickly across the green grass," which is low perplexity, low burstiness. But a human might write, "The dog bolted. A flash of fur through emerald blades. The latter triggers high perplexity."
Emerald blades. That's poetry. Green grass is just data. One is alive, the other is a description of a photograph.
And then there's the final piece of the puzzle, the psychometric void. This one, I have to admit, it spooked me a little bit.
Yeah, this section of the research was intense. It got dark.
The source argues that AI, because of its safety filters, fundamentally lacks the capacity for extreme emotions, specifically genuine fear, visceral disgust, and profound uninhibited joy.
So can an AI actually simulate disgust?
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can it?
The source argues no. Not convincingly, anyway. And it's because of those safety alignments we talked about earlier, the RLHF. An AI is hard-coded to be uniformly polite. It's the ultimate customer service agent from hell. It can't be truly disgusted by something because that implies a moral judgment or, more importantly, a visceral biological reaction. It doesn't have a gut to feel that revulsion in.
That is such a key point. It doesn't have a gut. It has no skin in the game.
It can say, I find that particular behavior concerning, but it can't say, that makes me want to vomit. The politeness filter stops it.
So if you are writing something and you want it to feel deeply human, you have to be willing to tap into those extremes. You need to show meaningful frustration. You need to show irrational joy. You need to show that you find certain ideas disgusting.
You need to be willing to be a little bit impolite.
Yes, rudeness is a proof of humanity. In 2026, being perfectly polite and agreeable is a bot trait. A little bit of edge, a little bit of attitude. That's how you know there's a living, breathing pulse on the other end of the line. So we have the fingerprint. We know the delve trap, the negative parallelism, the low perplexity, the lack of disgust. But let's be real. People are still going to use these tools. I mean, they have to use them to keep up.
Right. You can't just ignore the technology. That's like refusing to use email in 1995. You'll just be left behind.
So how do we win this arms race? How do we use the tool without becoming the tool?
Act 3, the arms race. And this is the practical how-to part.
The source talks about the depth framework. And this isn't just about simple prompts like make it shorter or write like a human. This is prompt engineering 2.0. And I think we need to walk through this letter by letter because most people are prompting completely wrong.
They are. Most people type in something like, write a blog post about the benefits of content marketing, and then they're shocked when they get the delve into the evolving landscape garbage back. Depth completely changes that approach.
Okay, walk us through it. DEPTH. What's D?
D is for define multiple perspectives. This is brilliant. It's actual systems thinking. Instead of asking the AI to be one single writer, you force it to synthesize conflicting viewpoints. You'd say, act as a panel of 3 experts, a behavioral psychologist, a direct response copywriter, and a skeptical data analyst.
Oh, I see. So you're forcing it to pull from different, sometimes contradictory clusters of its training data.
Exactly. A psychologist uses different words and frameworks than a copywriter. A psychologist talks about cognitive load. A copywriter talks about the hook. Mashing them together forces the AI to be creative. It increases perplexity naturally because it's blending vocabularies that don't usually sit side by side.
That's incredibly smart. So don't just say, write as an expert. You should say something like, write a dialogue between a fierce skeptic of this idea and a passionate optimist.
Yes, that creates tension. And tension is inherently human. A bot wants to resolve tension, to find the average. Your job is to inject it.
Okay, what's E?
E is for establish success metrics. And be specific. Don't just say write well. The AI doesn't know what well means to you. Well, to the AI just means grammatically correct and statistically probable. You have to give it concrete constraints. Optimize this text for a 5th grade reading level, or ensure at least 30% of the sentences are fragments, or use 0 adverbs in the entire piece.
It's the old idea that constraints drive creativity. It's true even for machines.
It's especially true for machines. If you don't give an AI strict boundaries, it will always revert to the average, to the mean.
Okay, P?
P is for provide context layers. Give it the full backstory. Who is the audience? Be specific. What are their deepest pain points? What do they secretly fear? Why do they hate their boss? What do they eat for breakfast? The more vivid the context, the better.
So not just write for an audience of marketers, but write for an audience of exhausted, cynical agency owners who are tired of clients calling them at 9 p.m. on a Friday and think all marketing advice is garbage.
Exactly. The more specific and emotional the context, the less generic the output will be. You're giving it an emotional world to inhabit. T is for task breakdown. This is a big one. Don't ask for the whole 1,000-word article at once. Break the flow. Tell it. Step 1, write only the hook. Now, step 2, write the main argument. Now, step 3, write the conclusion.
Why does that help so much?
Because if you let it generate 1,000 words in one continuous stream, it falls into that robotic, hypnotic rhythm. Gets into that metronome tick-tock. If you break it up into chunks, you disrupt the pattern. You are manually introducing burstiness into the process.
And finally, H.
H is for human feedback loop. Don't just take the first draft. Argue with it. Ask the AI to critique its own work. Prompt it with things like, reviewed this draft you just wrote. Is it too boring? Be honest, now fix it. Or, my personal favorite, does this sound like a robot wrote it? Rewrite it to sound like a slightly drunk but brilliant poet.
Make you sound like a drug poet. I am 100% going to try that prompt later today.
It actually works. Because drunk poet is a constraint that forces it to scramble its syntax and use unexpected word combinations. High perplexity on demand.
But even with a perfect depth prompt, the source material says it's rarely enough to pass the really strict 2026 detectors like GPT-0. You need to do what it calls manual injection of idiosyncrasies.
Transitional sabotage. I love this term so much.
It sounds like the title of a spy movie. Mission Impossible, Transitional Sabotage.
It essentially means you have to go into the text yourself and deliberately break it. Delete the smooth, logical connectors. AI loves words like moreover, furthermore, in conclusion, therefore. Humans don't talk like that. We say, here's the thing, or we'll start a new sentence with and, or but, or we just jump to the next point without any bridge at all.
So a little bit of disjointedness is actually a sign of humanity.
My personal pro tip of the day, ban the M- in your prompts.
Really? Why the M-?
AI absolutely loves M-dashes. It uses them as a crutch to create these long, complex, perfectly balanced sentences. You know the ones. If you explicitly ban them in your prompt, it forces the AI to use periods instead. It makes the writing punchier, more varied. It forces it to be bursty.
That is such a simple, practical hack. I love that.
And then, of course, there are the tools. The humanizers.
The marketplace of digital camouflage. The source mentions a few. AuraWrite, Stealth GPT, Undetectable AI. It seems to favor AuraWrite for deep analysis and scrambling.
Yeah, the research says AuraWrite and another one called Walter Wright's AI are excellent at preserving the core meaning of a text while scrambling the syntax just enough to beat the detectors. But it gives a big warning about tools like Quillbot. It says to stay away because it just swaps out synonyms and makes the text unreadable and often nonsensical.
But I want to pause here for a second because there's a very real moral question lurking underneath all of this.
I knew the philosopher was going to show up eventually. It was only a matter of time.
Well, look, if I write a messy first draft, just a complete brain vomit on the page, and I put it into Walter Wright's AI to polish it up and make it sound better, is that cheating?
That is the big question, isn't it?
Or let's flip it. If I use AI to generate the initial ideas and the outline, but I write all the final words myself, is that cheating? Where is the line between a tool and a crutch? Or a tool and a ghostwriter?
I look at it this way. The source has a great line. The most effective and ethical workflow in 2026 involves using artificial intelligence strictly as an editor rather than as a primary generator.
As an editor, not a creator.
Think about it like this. If you hire a human editor to fix your typos and tighten your sentences, are you cheating? No, of course not. If you use a spell checker, are you cheating? No.
But a spell checker doesn't invent new thoughts. A ghostwriter does. That feels different.
But what if you give that ghostwriter your incredibly detailed notes, your stories, your voice?
Then it's more of a collaboration.
Exactly, and that's the key. If you're using a humanizer to scramble perplexity because you want to hide the fact that you have nothing original to say, that's lying. That's digital camouflage, and it's unethical. But if you use the AI to challenge your own thinking, to act as a sparring partner, to tighten your prose, to find your blind spots, that's enhancement. That's making your work better.
It's the difference between taking a steroid to win a race and taking a vitamin to be healthier.
Or maybe it's the difference between having a parrot that just repeats what you say and having a partner that makes you better.
I like that, a parrot versus a partner. But let's pivot, because we can talk about how to write all day, but if you don't have anything meaningful to write in the first place, it doesn't matter how human you sound.
Exactly. Content without substance is just well-disguised noise, and the world has more than enough noise already.
Act 4, the stupid movement and brand architecture. This is where we get into the core strategy of creators like Dan Koe.
Dan Koe is a really fascinating case study. He's built this massive personal brand around a very specific philosophy, and the source does a great job breaking down his methodology. And it all starts with a concept he calls the anti-vision.
The anti-vision. This is so powerful, it really clicked for me.
Most people, especially online, try to sell a vision. Here is my dream life. Here's the Ferrari. Here's the laptop on the beach. But Koe argues that people are far more motivated by what they hate and want to escape from than what they love and want to move toward.
It's basic psychology, right?
Yeah.
Fear is a stronger motivator than desire. Evolutionarily speaking, running away from a lion is a much more urgent task than running toward a berry bush.
Exactly. So the first step is to define the enemy. For Koe's audience, the anti-vision is the corporate grind. It's the 9 to 5. It's the mindless adherence to societal programming.
It's the Matrix.
Uh,
It's Morpheus offering you the red pill.
It is the Matrix. And for the stupid movement specifically, the anti-vision is academic elitism. It's the intentional and often self-serving overcomplication of simple concepts. It's using jargon to sound smart.
The idea that you have to use big fancy words to be intelligent. The very thing we were just talking about with AI.
Right. And the stupid movement says, no, that's a scam. True intelligence is the ability to explain complex things with profound simplicity.
I see a massive historical parallel here. Can I geek out for just a minute?
Please do. This is your turf.
It's the Protestant Reformation. Think about Europe in the early 1500s. The Bible, the source code of all truth and salvation in that society, was written exclusively in Latin.
And who spoke Latin?
Nobody. I mean, basically nobody outside of the church.
Yeah.
Only the priests, only the academics. If you were a normal person, a farmer or a blacksmith or a merchant, you could not access the source code of your own faith. You had to go through a gatekeeper.
A guru.
Exactly. The priest was the guru. He stood on the mountain or in the pulpit and interpreted the sacred text for you. And he used the complexity of the language, the fact that it was inaccessible, to maintain his power. The message was, you can't understand this. It's too complex. Leave it to me, the expert.
That sounds eerily similar to the modern consultant. This marketing algorithm is too complex. You need my proprietary 6-step framework to understand it.
Precisely. Now, what was the revolutionary act that Martin Luther committed? He translated the Bible into German, into the vernacular, the stupid language of the common people.
He democratized the code. He made it open source.
He collapsed the entire power structure of the church because suddenly the value wasn't in the translation anymore. It was in the understanding and the application. The stupid movement is a digital reformation. It's taking the scripture of business, psychology, and philosophy out of the hands of the priests, the academics, and the jargon-loving experts, and giving it to the people in plain, simple English.
I actually love that analogy. I was skeptical, but you sold me. It frames stupid not as dumb, but as liberated, as accessible.
Yes, stupid in this context means radically accessible.
And to do that, to be that simple, you need a tremendous amount of trust. Because if you aren't hiding behind big words and complex frameworks, you have to stand on your own merits. The source outlines what it calls the trust matrix. It's built on 3 pillars.
Growth, authenticity, and authority.
Let's break them down. Growth is about what Koe calls the articulation muscle. It's about the visible act of practicing how to say things clearly, It's showing your work in public even when it's not perfect.
Authenticity is really about vulnerability.
This is so crucial. You have to be willing to share the struggle, not just the highlight reel, the process, not just the product.
The before and the after.
You have to show the scar. If you only show the trophy, people get jealous and they resent you. But if you show them the scar you got while earning the trophy, people trust you. A robot can show a trophy. A robot can't show a scar.
An authority. This one is interesting.
Authority in this new model isn't about credentials. It's not about having a PhD or being published in a journal. It's about persuasive education. Can you teach me something valuable by looking at it through a new and interesting lens?
So not just another article on how to manage your time, but an article on viewing your time management through the laws of thermodynamics.
Exactly. It's all about the reframe.
Okay, so you have the philosophy, but how do we structure this in a piece of content? The source mentions a framework called APAG.
Yes, this is from the 2-hour writer methodology. It's super practical. APAG.
A is for attention.
Right. You have to agitate the problem, start with the pain. You feel stuck in your career. You're tired of writing content nobody reads.
Then P is for perspective.
This is the absolute key to the whole thing. You have to attack the status quo. You have to identify the flawed common belief. The reason you feel stuck is because society told you that you need to pick one career and stick with it for 40 years.
And then A is for advantage.
This is where you introduce your new lens. But what if you viewed your career not as a ladder, but as a portfolio of projects? That's the new perspective, the advantage it gives you.
And finally, G is for gamify.
Give them a quest, a small, actionable step. Here's the challenge. This week, spend 1 hour on a side project that has nothing to do with your day job. Do this one thing.
So, as the practitioner, how do you actually use this? Like on LinkedIn tomorrow, give me a concrete example.
All the time. The biggest mistake people make on LinkedIn is just sharing tips. Nobody cares about your tips. People scroll right past lists of tips. You have to attack the reader's worldview. So instead of writing a post that says, here are 3 tips to improve your SEO, you write a post that starts with, SEO is dead. Here is what is replacing it.
Whoa, that definitely stops the scroll.
It stops the scroll because it challenges their entire reality. It creates perplexity in their brain. Wait a minute, SEO is dead. My whole job is SEO. I need to know why he thinks that. You've hooked them by attacking the status quo.
Let's talk platforms for a minute, because the landscape in 2026 is really different. The source has some very specific rules for LinkedIn, YouTube, and Substack.
LinkedIn has changed dramatically. It used to be all about driving traffic off the platform. Check out my new blog post, link in the comments, remember that.
And now?
Now it's 0 external links. The algorithm absolutely hates them. It wants to keep people on the platform at all costs. So the big shift is to what the source calls text plus image posts.
The classic selfie and a long story.
It can be that, or it can be a diagram or a chart. But the key is that the text itself has to provide all the value. You can't just tease the value and link out. The LinkedIn post is the blog post now.
And what about YouTube?
YouTube is seeing this great bifurcation, a split. You have shorts, which are purely for capturing attention. 3-second hook, fast-paced, nonstop dopamine hits. It's candy.
But the long-form content?
It's going in the completely opposite direction. Slow, unedited, raw, authentic, like a conversation, not a performance.
The post-Hormozy shift.
Yes. For a few years, everyone in the business space tried to copy Alex Hormozy. You know the style. Fast cuts every 2 seconds, subtitles popping up with sound effects, loud driving music, motion graphics everywhere. It was completely exhausting to watch.
It was a sensory overload. It felt like you were being yelled at by an algorithm.
And the source says this, and I think it's spot on. The future belongs to long-form, highly authentic content that treats the audience as intelligent peers, not as goldfish with a short attention span.
It's the death of hype.
I think so.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's the evolution of it. I think we are seeing the death of the guru and the rise of the guide.
That's a crucial distinction. A guru stands on a mountain and shouts down the answers. A guide walks up the mountain with you.
And admits when they were tired, and admits when they took a wrong turn and have to backtrack. The guide is a fellow traveler, just a few steps ahead.
Exactly. The guide shows the scars.
And Substack fits perfectly into this new world. The source calls it the 3-layer cake. You have the newsletter, the web version, and the notes feature. It's becoming its own self-contained social ecosystem. It's the one place where you truly own the audience.
Because if LinkedIn or YouTube changes its algorithm tomorrow, you can lose your entire business overnight. But an email list, that's your asset. That's portable.
That's the asset, the
Yeah.
only one that really matters.
So we've covered a lot of ground. We've covered the delve trap, the method detection, the depth evasion framework, and this massive strategic shift in branding toward the stupid movement.
We have. It's a lot to process.
Act 5. Let's do some closing reflections. I want to circle all the way back to the central paradox, the stupidity paradox.
Go on.
To be smart in 2026, you must be willing to sound stupid, simple, clear, jargon-free. But at the same time, to use the smartest tools you've ever created, AI, you have to manually inject imperfections. You have to make the output worse to make it pass as human.
It is a double paradox. You have to dumb down your own intellect to be understood, and at the same time, you have to dumb down your AI's perfection to be accepted.
It's absolutely wild. And it connects directly to what you were saying earlier about the anti-vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really want the listeners to take a moment and think about this. What do you hate?
That's a strong question, a provocative one.
It is. But if you want to write authentic, powerful content, don't start with, what do I know? Start with, what am I angry about? What in your industry drives you absolutely crazy? What do you see so-called experts doing that you know in your gut is wrong?
That is where the real energy is, the passion.
That's the burstiness. Anger is bursty. Passion is bursty. Joy is bursty. If you write from that emotional place, you will never, ever sound like an AI.
And from my philosopher's corner, I keep coming back to this idea of cognitive ease.
What's that exactly?
It's a psychological concept from Daniel Kahneman's work. The basic idea is that when things are easy for our brains to process, easy to read, easy to understand, we perceive them as being more true. When things are complex, hard to read, full of jargon and convoluted sentences, we perceive them as risky or untrustworthy.
So simplicity isn't just about clarity, it's actually a trust mechanism.
Exactly. Truth feels easy. So if you are hiding behind big words and complex frameworks, people's ancient lizard brain instincts feel like you are lying to them, or that you're trying to sell them something snake oil.
Complexity is a barrier to trust. That's a bumper sticker right there. I like that.
But I want to leave the listener with one final haunting thought, a final provocation to chew on.
Okay, let's hear it.
We talked earlier about the psychometric void, the idea that AI in its current form cannot truly feel disgust or fear or profound joy.
Right, it can describe them, but it can't embody them.
So here's the question. If we outsource our writing to these machines, if we let them do the hard work of thinking and articulating and communicating for us, do we eventually lose the ability to feel those things ourselves?
We risk becoming low perplexity humans.
We risk becoming the average. We risk sanding off our own rough edges. We risk losing the very chaos that makes us us. And what are we then?
That is a genuinely terrifying thought.
It is. So here is the call to action from this whole deep dive. Don't just learn how to prompt better. Be more bursty in your own life.
Embrace the chaos. Embrace your inner weirdo.
Write the messy sentence. Use the wrong word if it feels right in your gut. Share the story that makes you look a little bit bad, a little bit vulnerable.
Because that imperfection, that humanity, is the only real competitive advantage you have left.
In a world of artificial intelligence, the biggest competitive advantage is natural stupidity.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
We'll see you in the next deep dive. And please, don't delve.
Don't you dare delve.